I welcome you all to the discussion of service. Specifically, I'll be discussing what is service and what are the characteristics of service. What is service? Service is an activity, it is a or it is an action. One party can offer to others. I mean, the producer, service producer can offer it to the receivers, service recipients, and it is intangible, which does not result in the ownership of anything. It is one of the accepted definitions of service. If you see this definition of service, let us see what are the characteristics of services. If we go through the traits, the characteristics of services, I believe you will have a clear understanding about service. So what are the characteristics? You can have a look at the board. The first characteristic is intangibility, or we can say services are intangible, services are inseparable, services are variable, and the last one is services are perishable. So what are the characteristics? The four major characteristics are intangibility, inseparability, variability, and the last one is perishability. See, what's the first one? Intangibility. Services are intangible. What does it mean? It means that we cannot see services, we can touch it, we can feel it, we can try it, we can taste it, even we can smell it before we make actual purchase. You take an example. Say, I am in a position to buy a shirt. Whenever I am buying a shirt, it is not a service, it is a physical object. So before I make actual purchase of that shirt, say I am at a shop, I am seeing different shirts. Before I make actual purchase, I can wear the shirt, I can have a trial. If I wear the shirt, I can see, I can check how it fits me, whether it is comfortable or not, how I will look wearing that shirt. And why I can do that? Because it is not. So before I make actual purchase, I can check it. You take another example. Say I want to buy some sweets. I am going to Prominent Sweets. So before I purchase some sweets, I can try a piece of sweets. I can have it. If I find it delicious, then I can decide to buy it. But what happens in case of services? If I go to a doctor, do I know? Okay, what will be the purpose of the doctor? Okay, before I take this, his or her service? No, because it is intangible. If I go to a hairdresser to have a haircut, I don't know how I will look with the haircut that will be provided by the barber or by the hairdresser. I don't know, because it is service. But in case of a pen, again, okay, if I am talking about a physical object, before I make an actual purchase of a pen, I can try it, I can check how it writes. If it writes well, then I can decide to buy it. Otherwise, okay, I can leave it. So that is intangibility. Okay, again, what is that? We can see it, we can touch it, we can feel it, we can check it, we can't smell it before we make actual purchase. This is number one. Number two, services are inseparable. If I am talking about Luxor wheel, the object can be separated, can be different, again, from the provider, from the company, from the manufacturer, from the producer. And anytime, again, we can buy it from the store. In the morning, at noon, in the evening, or at night, no matter. Even again, anybody can buy it on my behalf, no problem. But what about service? Services cannot be separated again from the provider. And service, it is such a marketable entity that requires the participation, equal participation of both the provider and the receiver. Both the provider and receiver. So that is inseparability. It means the physical objects or goods can be separated from the provider, from the producer. On the other hand, on the contrary, services can be separated from the service provider or service producer. This is number 2. Number 3 is variability. Take an example. If Unilever produces 100,000 pieces of Lux today, the quality, quantity, performance, size of each and every Lux will remain the same. However many pieces are being produced today by Unilever Bangladesh, the quality, quantity, size, each and everything will remain the same. But what about service? As a service provider, say, if I am talking about myself, Dr. Masoom Iqbal, if I take 4 classes today, the performance, the quality of these 4 classes will be different. If I am talking about a physician, if I am talking about a doctor, if a doctor sees 20 patients a day, the performance, the commitment, the concentration or attention to the patients of the doctor will be the different in 20 different cases. So that is variability. So what is the significance? It means that the most important thing is that it is very difficult for the service marketer to maintain quality of services. It depends on so many factors. Who is providing services, when the service is being provided, and how the service is being provided. But it is very easy for the physical object market, goods market, to maintain quality of their physical objects. That is the third one. What is the fourth one? Perishability. Perishability means services cannot be stored for later sale, for future sale. Physical objects or goods can be stored. Say I am selling Lux. If it is not sold there, if I fail to sell it today, I can put it in the warehouse, I can put it in the store. I'll be able to sell it tomorrow, day after tomorrow, after 1 year, after 1 month, no problem. But what about service? We cannot put services in the store for later sale or future sale. If I am talking about Dhaka Stadium, what is the capacity of spectators? So there is a match between Avani and Mohammedan. Probably the capacity is about 25,000 spectators in Dhaka Stadium. But if there are 5,000 spectators in the stadium today, is it possible for the match authority to sell these tickets to the spectators, to the people of this country again or in another time? Of course not. So what I mean that services cannot be stored. We cannot put the services in the warehouse for later sale or future sale. So they are the major characteristics of services, and which are very, very important to the marketer for designing services and implementing services. I hope you have an understanding about service and the characteristics of services. Thank you very much.